The movie begins by showing Diego Paulo, a well-known drug dealer who has just arrived at his luxurious mansion in Colombia. Diego made a name for himself in the drug trade, gaining wealth but also making many enemies. His dangerous deals and betrayals led to several people seeking revenge against him. Armed guards are stationed throughout the house to protect Diego, as he has a lot of enemies because of his illegal activities. Soon after arriving, Diego goes to his room to meet his fiancée. While he is relaxing in the bath, a mysterious sniper is seen setting up at a distance, aiming directly at him. Suddenly, a bullet breaks through the bedroom window, and Diego is killed instantly with a shot to the head. The scene then shifts to a military cemetery in the United States, where Brandon Beckett, a military sniper, is attending a funeral for a fellow soldier who died in combat. After Diego Paulo's assassination, the focus moves to Brandon, whose skills will soon be important for dealing with the fallout of the events in Colombia. After the funeral, Brandon speaks with his boss, Major Richard Miller, who tells him about the recent murder in Colombia involving an unknown sniper. This case matters to Brandon because it involves a highly skilled sniper, and his experience is needed to track down the person responsible. Richard assigns Brandon to go to Colombia as a sniper expert to help investigate the crime. Without delay, Brandon gets ready and travels to Bogota, Colombia, to join the investigation team. When Brandon arrives at the military base, he meets Sergeant Gomez, who is leading the investigation. Sergeant Gomez explains that they are dealing with a powerful drug lord named Jesus Morales, who is suspected of killing his rivals in the drug trade. Morales has been on the run for 10 years and is suspected of committing multiple murders by hiring a professional sniper. After listening to the details about Morales, Brandon carefully reviews all the information that Sergeant Gomez provides. During the meeting, Kate Estrada, a leader from the Drug Enforcement Administration, the U.S. agency that handles drug cases, adds that her team has tracked Morales to a house on a remote farm, far away from the city. Estrada says that she and her team plan to raid the location the next day. Sergeant Gomez thinks it is too soon, but Estrada insists they need to act before Morales escapes again, as they have received information suggesting he is preparing to flee. Estrada then asks Brandon to serve as a sniper to protect her team from a distance, along with Santiago, who will assist him during the mission. Before leaving the room, she instructs Brandon to study all the mission files. The next day, the mission begins, and all teams take their positions around the target. Brandon and Santiago, acting as snipers, are already stationed in the forest, ready to watch the movements of Estrada's team. At the same time, Estrada's team moves towards Morales' house. They decide to take a longer route to avoid being detected by Morales' men. Meanwhile, Sergeant Gomez is in the office, monitoring the mission through satellite footage. A short while later, John Sampson, a special agent from the Department of Homeland Security, enters the room to help oversee the operation at Morales' house. Sampson's arrival is crucial because his experience in counterterrorism will help make sure every detail of the mission is properly coordinated, reducing the risk of more casualties. Back in the field, Estrada's team gets closer to Morales' house. Once everyone is in position, the first group begins to move in for the ambush. Suddenly, as soon as they enter the house, a bomb goes off, killing several team members. At the same time, a mysterious sniper, known for his deadly accuracy and years of experience in covert operations, is hiding in the forest, watching Estrada's team and focusing on one of her key partners, Pablo. Suddenly, a gunshot is heard, hitting Pablo in the leg, making him cry out in pain. Seeing him injured, Estrada rushes to help Pablo and moves him to a safer location. However, the sniper's skill is unmatched, and another shot hits Pablo in the head, killing him instantly. After the sniper attack, Brandon and the rest of the team come out of hiding to check on Pablo. Brandon quickly realizes that this was a trap set by Morales. He suspects that the sniper is a professional because of the accuracy of the shots, which requires exceptional skill and experience. The fact that the sniper could fire 2 accurate shots under pressure without missing shows a high level of training and expertise. Also, the bullets used are specialized rounds, not something easily found by just anyone. After the failed mission, Estrada and Brandon meet again with Sergeant Gomez and Agent Sampson to discuss why the ambush went wrong. They all conclude that Morales must have known about their plan, allowing him to set up the deadly trap. Later that night, after the chaos of the failed mission and the loss of team members, Santiago and Brandon go to the DEA dormitory where they're staying during the mission. As they make their way to their room, they go around the building to ensure they are safe from a potential sniper attack. Brandon discovers the mistakes his squad made during their last mission. He also learns about the type of bullet used by the mysterious sniper. At the same time, Estrada is still grieving the loss of her partner, Pablo, who died during the mission. She decides to go to a nightclub to meet someone. However, as she enters, a man starts bothering her, and she quickly fights back. Soon after, she meets Carlos, who works as a secret informant. He shares important information about the criminals, including details about a man named Morales. Carlos tells Estrada that Morales has hired a professional sniper known as El Diablo, or the Devil, to eliminate his business rivals. This makes Morales the biggest drug dealer in Colombia, controlling almost everything. Carlos advises Estrada to stay away from the mission against Morales. He warns her that if El Diablo targets her, her life will be in serious danger. Estrada refuses to back down, saying she must continue the mission, especially since El Diablo killed her close friend. Carlos understands her determination and promises to keep her updated about Morales and El Diablo. Meanwhile, Brandon rushes to the roof of the dormitory building to set up his rifle. He received a warning from Santiago about a reconnaissance laser aimed at the building. El Diablo realizes that Brandon is ready to fight, and he becomes even more eager to kill him. With Santiago's guidance, Brandon spots his target. As two skilled snipers, they prepare to shoot at each other. El Diablo dodges Brandon's bullet, quickly finding cover to avoid getting hit by El Diablo's shot. The two engage in a tense duel, revealing that El Diablo uses a different type of bullet than Brandon. The next day, Brandon, Estrada, and Sergeant Gomez participate in a video conference with Richard, Brandon's boss. They plan to discuss the findings from the previous mission and strategize on how to proceed, especially with the involvement of the mysterious sniper, El Diablo. Richard explains that the bullet used by El Diablo is a high-tech smart bullet. This special bullet can turn and explode on its own, based on what the sniper wants. He mentions that these bullets come from the United States Department of Defense, which creates advanced military technology, including smart bullets. Meanwhile, Morales is at his headquarters, playing billiards with some thugs from Bogota. After losing a bet on a pool game, he angrily points his gun at Manolo, one of the thug leaders who won the game. Manolo looks scared. Another thug named Victor watches nervously. Even though Morales does not pull the trigger, he says it was just a joke, trying to ease the tension. Soon after, Morales leaves when one of his men informs him that Brandon and Estrada are still alive. As he heads to his room, he tries to contact El Diablo. When he arrives, he finds El Diablo sitting there, aiming a gun at him because Morales hasn't paid him yet. Morales refuses to pay, saying he will not give any money until El Diablo finishes the job and kills Brandon and Estrada. Meanwhile, Estrada, Brandon, and Santiago are in a taxi, investigating El Diablo's whereabouts. Moments later, Estrada receives a call from Carlos, who shares the address of El Diablo's girlfriend. They quickly head to the address Carlos provided. However, as they drive, a truck suddenly crashes into their car at an intersection. At the same time, Morales' men surround them and start shooting. Tragically, Santiago is hit and dies in the chaos. Estrada decides to go alone to El Diablo's girlfriend's house without telling Brandon, who is busy defending against the attacks. When Estrada reaches the house, she is met by Manolo and his gang, who block her way. Despite being surrounded, she fights back against the thugs, but soon finds herself trapped. Just in time, Brandon arrives to help her. Together, they manage to find El Diablo's girlfriend's necklace, which contains a hidden photo of El Diablo. Brandon, who had just found the photo, quickly sends it to Sergeant Gomez and Samson, who are at the office. He wants them to identify the mysterious sniper in the picture. During the phone call, Brandon tells them that he and Estrada will hide for a while to gather more information about El Diablo. He asks the sergeant not to send any more troops to join their mission, as this would make it harder to track them. Brandon and Estrada are cautious because they suspect that Morales has connections within government agencies. This would allow him to act before the DEA, could ambush him. To find out which government official is helping Morales, Brandon and Estrada meet with Carlos. Unfortunately, Carlos doesn't have any specific information. However, he mentions that some important people in the government might be assisting Morales in his drug trade. Based on Carlos's information, Brandon and Estrada decide to eliminate the key people working with Morales one by one to draw him and El Diablo out. Samson is against this plan, worrying that it could lead to chaos. However, Richard and Sergeant Gomez support their actions, believing it is an effective way to bring Morales out of hiding. One night, Morales, realizing that Brandon and Estrada had killed his business partner, rushes to meet El Diablo. He offers the sniper money to kill them that very night. Without hesitation, El Diablo approaches Manolo to gather more information and asks him for help in rallying thugs in the area to assist with the mission. Grateful for the cash he received, Manolo agrees and informs El Diablo that Brandon and Estrada are working with Carlos on their operations. After learning this, El Diablo orders Manolo to hang Carlos in front of the church. Meanwhile, he hides nearby, waiting for Brandon and Estrada to come out of hiding. When Estrada spots Carlos hanging from a tree, she feels panic rise within her and wants to rush out to save him. However, Brandon stops her, warning that it is a trap. If she goes out, El Diablo or Morales men will surely kill her. Brandon reassures Estrada that they can still save Carlos from their hiding spot. He aims his rifle carefully and shoots the rope that is holding Carlos, hoping to free him before it is too late. Unfortunately, El Diablo, who has been watching, immediately fires his gun at Carlos, killing him instantly. The next day, Brandon and Estrada attend Carlos's funeral, surrounded by local residents who are mourning his death. During the service, Brandon notices Victor acting suspiciously, and he decides to follow him. Though Victor hesitates at first, he eventually agrees to work with Brandon and share information about Morales' headquarters, explaining that Morales ordered Carlos's death. Thanks to the information from Victor, DEA troops quickly ambush Morales' headquarters. The operation goes smoothly, and Morales offers little resistance when he is arrested. Shortly after his arrest, Samson takes Morales to Miami for trial at the United States Attorney's Office. Meanwhile, El Diablo arrives in Miami using a fake identity, successfully passing through airport checks. Back at the airport, Brandon and his team are preparing to transport Morales to the prosecutor's office. During this time, Brandon meets with Richard, who shows him the latest version of the smart bullet developed by the military. Richard explains that this new smart bullet is more advanced and sophisticated than the ones El Diablo used to kill his victims. Richard also reveals that El Diablo was a former soldier who once worked for the United States Department of Defense. According to reports from the department, 100 smart bullets had gone missing, and it was likely that El Diablo was responsible for their disappearance. Meanwhile, El Diablo arrives in a room at the airport, setting up his sniper equipment to prepare for a kill. At the same time, Morales, wearing a hood, is being escorted by several officers from a room to the car that will take him to the prosecutor's office. As Morales' convoy of cars drives away, Samson begins to wonder why Brandon and the others haven't joined the convoy. Brandon explains that the convoy they just saw is a decoy designed to protect the real Morales from potential attacks. He reveals that the person in the first convoy is not the real Morales, and the actual Morales will be taken in a white van that will leave soon. In his room, El Diablo receives orders from someone in the government to kill Morales before he can reveal any information about the officials who helped him run his illegal drug business. Meanwhile, Brandon and Estrada are positioned across the street from the building where El Diablo is hiding. Estrada focuses her attention on the first convoy of cars carrying Morales. At the same time, Brandon aims his rifle at El Diablo, preparing to take a shot. When El Diablo receives a message on his cell phone revealing Morales' location in the white van, he quickly adjusts his target and waits for the van to leave the airport. As soon as he sees the white van coming out, he fires his weapon, blasting the van apart. At the same time, several gunmen jump out and open fire on the van, making sure that everyone inside is killed. Meanwhile, Brandon, who has obtained El Diablo's coordinates, fires the smart bullet that Richard gave him. The bullet hits El Diablo right in the head, killing him instantly. During this chaos, it turns out that Morales has survived because he was in the first convoy of cars. The white van that El Diablo shot at was actually empty. It had no passengers inside because it was controlled remotely. This plan had been created by Brandon and his team to expose Samson's crimes. Samson had worked with Morales in the drug trade and had ordered El Diablo to kill Morales to protect himself, ensuring that his name would not be linked to the drug case. When Estrada hears Samson's explanation and sees how unrepentant he is for his actions, her anger boils over. She can't contain herself and strikes him in frustration, especially after losing her best coworker. In the end, after Samson is arrested, Richard praises Brandon and Estrada for their excellent work in solving the case. Estrada feels a sense of satisfaction and then leaves the scene with Brandon. The film ends. So the moral of the story is, if you're going to mess with a sniper, make sure you know which convoy you're actually targeting, or you might end up with nothing but a blown-up decoy and a smart bullet with your name on it.